What's going on, YouTube? Just readjusting this camera real quick. This video is a part 2 of my video of what are you talking about, and the reason why I'm doing a part 2 is because I got a response back from a person by the name of Anana Zero. That's one of the one of the people here on YouTube, and basically I think they misunderstood me when I was talking about when I said about what are you talking about, conversations and things like this. And I'll just read them down. They gave me 3 problems with what I said. We go through them one by one. The first one was, you aren't your conversation. Your conversation is a redirection of you. Okay, first of all, you have to understand something. The conversation I'm talking about, let me give you an example. My friend who I talked to quite some time, we had a conversation the other night on consistency. Right? Our conversations is not all just about just random things like just sound intelligent, whatever. To me, they're pretty simple conversations, but they're conversations that can help you in a conversation. So, the example. So we talked about consistency, and we talked about, like, man, one of the things that, like, for me, for instance, I can have bright ideas on certain things or whatever, but then sometimes the consistency with those things doesn't match up. Like, for instance, you may take a person who works out, and they have a New Year's resolution that they want to be, I want to lose 400 pounds, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, all this other kind of stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, they find themselves like 16 days later, which I think that's pretty much the norm, they're not doing it again. Now, let me redirect that goal and give you a consistency, see what a consistency goal sounds like. You say, look, I know I may not be where I'm at right now, where I want to be right now, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and try my best to work out 5 days a week. 5 days a week, and by working out 5 days a week, I'm going to go ahead and get me an iPod. I'm going to go ahead and plan my meals the night before, and I'm going to set my alarm clock for 6 o'clock, and I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And I'm going to try to do it the first thing before I touch before I look at television, before I do anything, is my workout. That's a consistency goal, because you're in it for the long haul. You're not in it for, well, I need to go ahead and just start working out. That's no go. Okay? So another thing that we talked about was, we talked about consistency, and then last night we talked about, sometimes when you see a person, and let's say the person's new, and let's say the person has some negative qualities, a lot of times all we do is focus on the negative qualities of that person instead of trying to find the positive things that's in that person. Because there's a good book out, it's called How to Win Friends and Influence Others. And what it talks about is that if you're let's say if you're a boss and you have an employee that is not working, this employee is lazy, and you're always constantly having problems with this employee, the best thing to do is to ignore the faults of that employee and continue to praise that employee. Praise that employee to death. Because once you praise that employee will automatically continue to want that praise, because we as human beings, we look for this praise. We thrive for praise. So this is just 2 examples of the type of conversation that we're talking about. You said in point number 2, you said talking about important things doesn't make the conversation worthwhile. People love to talk about politics. I think it's wax poetic. Things are said about spirituality when they don't really know the first thing about the subject. Okay, you're right. I'm not a guy that likes to talk about politics because, one, I only like to talk about the things that I can control. Yes, you can control who you elect or whatever by going out and voting and things like that. That's fine. You can do that. But as far as the economy, I don't waste my time with that kind of conversation. I don't waste my time with conversation about the gas prices are high. I just continue to work on making my plan even better, so I don't have to worry about the gas prices and things like that. And in the last, you talked about I slept through high school and college out of boredom, and my life, you pretty much turned out the correct way. First of all, I'm a college graduate myself. I don't look at college as like when I graduated from college, I wasn't like this Einstein all of a sudden. College didn't really teach me much. It taught me some fundamentals. It's a discipline tool. It lets employers know that, hey, this guy, he he fought through 4 years of college or whatever. You know, you learn something in college, but that's not the conversation I'm talking about. We're not sitting around like each other like we freaking Einsteins or anything like that. We're talking about conversation that can change you within the conversation. You know, consistency can change you. If you have consistency in working out, boom. If you have consistency in a business practice, meaning like the business is not going so good, but every day you just keep trying and you say, you know what, I'm going to do this until I turn 70 every day for 1 hour. That's a consistency goal. These are conversations that change you. So this is the type of conversation that I'm talking about. And I guarantee you it's rare. You know, conversation that when you leave the conversation, you go back to your house, your home, and you're like, gosh, man, I need to change. So I'm sorry for not explaining it more, and thank you for bringing up your points. And none of those points that you brought up, though, were what I was actually talking about. So I just want to see your response and anyone else's response, and see what see what you guys have to say about this. All right, until next time.